Hello, everyone. I'm Jan Eric Casey, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you and thank you for joining us today to talk about the Star of Excellence program. As Global Head of ISG Provider Lens, I'm also the sponsor of the Star of Excellence program, and so I'm really excited to be here with you today. The owner of the program, Heiko Henkes, unfortunately, it has been out ill this week, so we wish him speedy recovery, and he wants me to express his gratitude to all of you for the many companies that have participated in this program for the last 2 years. So let's go on to the next slide and talk about our speakers. So Heiko won't be presenting today, but I'm thrilled to have two of our most senior principal analysts, Mernal Ray and Arun Kumar, who will be joining and presenting part of the program today. On the next slide, I'll just review with you the Star of Excellence or the agenda. So I'll quickly go through an overview as well as just reviewing the insights. The awards will be presented, or the insights will be presented by Arun and awards by myself, and then the overall program will be by Mernal. We will have some time for Q&A, so I'd encourage you as we're going along to just put the questions in the chat that you should see on the right-hand side or bottom of your screen, and then we'll make sure that we get to those Q&A questions at the end. On the next slide, I want to just give you a program overview. So this program has been in place for a number of years, but only for the last 2 years has it been connected to the Provider Lens program. And what that means is that we actually are using the data that we collect as part of Star of Excellence and how we rank providers in each of our quadrants in each of our studies. And the reason why we do that is because the client experience has always been part of our program, but we're reliant solely on our advisors and their experience working with clients every day. We continue to rely on that, but now we also have the direct feedback from clients in the Star of Excellence program. So we are looking for that experience and that down to the ground level of where providers are working with their clients day to day and exactly how they are feeling about that experience. We have been asked many times, well, how does Star of Excellence fit in with the rest of the programs we're familiar with, the ISG Index, Pro Benchmark, the many events that we sponsor, the ISG Experience Assessment Center, and Provider Lens. And what I can tell you is that it is integrated in each one of those areas. So in the index, you will hear more and more references to client experience, and that's coming from this program. In Pro Benchmark, we're working very closely with that team to make sure that they start to integrate the experience into what they talk about. In events, you will hear much more about the CX scores, and that's already happening, as well as with the Experience Assessment Center. Provider Lens, we can talk more about as we go along in the presentation today. On the next slide, let me just talk a little bit about the scoring. There are 6 categories that are really important to every client as they engage with each of your companies. They look for collaboration, for excellence and execution, the people that are brought to the engagement, the governance and how you work together and ensure that you have compliance. Innovation has always been one of the number ones, and then business continuity. As you can imagine, these 6 categories change slightly from year over year. During COVID, business continuity became number one, and the people not far behind that. Uh, in the past, innovation has been a top area. Now with ESG, governance is becoming much more important. So the nice thing about the program is that as we speak with clients day to day, we're able to find out what are their priorities. But actually, the way that this program works is we ask them what their top priority is. In fact, we ask them to rank these 6, and then based on the feedback, that has a direct implication on how the overall CX score is calculated. So it's very individual rather than trying to have a generic program that is meant to fit all. We realize that every client is different. So there are two different scores that we look at. We look at the satisfaction score to understand what is the actual experience in each of those 6 pillars. So we actually ask them to rate their experience in each of the 6. And then, as I said, based on their importance score, which of those are most important to least important, then that has an overall impact on how they view the experience. And on the next slide, let me talk about how we use the reporting. As I mentioned, Provider Lens, every single study, we will be asking specific questions, asking for referrals, or opening up to the outside public to talk about their experience with application maintenance and development, or public cloud support, or insurance, or healthcare, or any of our industries. And so that data is directly used, and the questions we ask are specific to those functions from those reports. It's not generic, hey, how are things going? Do you like them? Are they doing good for you? It's they do work for you on Workplace of the Future, and they're enabling your employees, or they are improving the connectivity. How is that going? So it gets down to that level. We also have the quarterly index, and hopefully all of you are tuning into that each quarter. If not, I highly recommend that you start. It's free. It's open to anyone, and you will start hearing more and more about the client experience there. Um, we have the candidate provider qualification CPQ process. If those of you who don't know what that is the program that each of our advisors use to be aware of which of the providers have the fit for what their client has asked for, and how they come up with the long list and then ultimately the short list. So CPQ data will now, our program will start to use the CX scores more and more. And then finally, the Star of Excellence Awards. Once per year, we tally up all of the information, and we present various awards, which we'll talk to you about later in this program. Going on to the last, my last slide. So the collection is a year-round survey. I want to make sure that everybody understands that just because we did the award ceremony in November doesn't mean that then we stopped and that we're kicking it off again today. It's actually been ongoing. The portal that we use that's available to the public and that's available for our advisors to direct their clients to go to and to fill out their experience, that's never closed. It's been open every single day, and we continue to get that feedback. For each study that we launch, part of the survey process and the data collection and doing the briefings is also asking each of you to nominate your clients to participate in this survey. And so it's going on all the time. We're always producing reports. There's always one in production, or just getting launched, or just getting published. And so ideally, we want to collect that data during the open process for each of the reports. But as hopefully all of you know, the database, the portal where all of the data is stored, is available to you all year round. You can be updating it at any time, not just when a study is in process. And the CPQ process actually uses whatever is in the portal as of today or as of yesterday. And so the Star of Excellence data will continue to populate and be available in that portal for our advisors when they need it. So that's something to just keep in mind, is that we are collecting that data all the time. If you say, gosh, I should have had so-and-so fill out the survey, I'll remember that next year. Don't wait. Ask them to do it right away. Ask them to do it multiple times if you are doing multiple things for that client. The once a year part is just when we tally all of the scores and come up with a final score across all of the studies, and then we give out an award. So with that, let me turn the time over to Mernal, and he will talk a little bit more about the insights and how we get to the scores.
Thank you, Jan Eric, and hello, everyone. Uh, let's have a look at the year 2022 from the enterprise CX perspective. In 2022, the ISG Voice of Customer Star of Excellence survey received a good number of response from enterprise clients. We thank the service provider community for nominating close to 950 service enterprise clients to take the Star of Excellence survey. The overall submitted response was somewhere close to 2000 unique evaluations, and majority of them came from the independent channel that we use to collect information. But a good amount of responses also came from the enterprise clients nominated by service providers. And if you look at the kind of respondents who responded to our voice of customer survey, you can see the diversity. We have responses coming from enterprise client of both a small SMB segment, large enterprises, and of diverse employee strength. Not only that, the respondents also represented the diverse industry verticals. We got responses from clients representing different industry verticals, and you can see the distribution on the slide here. We can also segment the respondents based on their business functions. This enables ISG to provide the customer experience insights, not just by the respective industry, technology, or region, but also by respective business function. So if you're ever wondering that what would be the customer experience or enterprise customer experience, as we say, for technology, and what is the difference between the experience by an IT organization leader versus a business organization leader versus a procurement leader, we will have the answer. And we publish these results and insights in our quarterly customer experience index that Jan Erik mentioned. To give you a high-level view of what were the major findings and what we learned in the last full year of customer experience study. So there are a couple of things that enterprise clients have rated the service providers really high, and there are a couple of areas where service providers were rated low by enterprise clients. The responses show that with the changing dynamics in the post-pandemic world, when enterprises are kind of changing their business model, reassessing their operations, their demands are changing. And the good thing is that the service providers are actually following the requirements, expectations. They are working hard to meet those expectations. So provider enterprises were really happy with providers' ability to help them make those changes in the post-pandemic world. They were also happy with the service provider's ability to provide consistency, high quality execution. And in addition, they gave good scores to service providers for maintaining the security aspects of it. However, when it comes to providing innovative solutions, innovative services, suggesting the areas of improvement in the post-pandemic world, this is an area where service provider really need to work on, because clients are really not happy. They're not happy comparatively with service providers for these aspects. They have given low CX scores for service providers, ability to identify processes for improvement, their ability to adopt the way of working, understanding of their business, and suggesting new ways or new methods to work. So that is an area which can be an action item for all service provider across the board. This study, as Jan Erik mentioned, we calculate the customer experience score, or we call the CX score. You can see based on the last year responses that we received, the industry average score was somewhere around 62.4, and the average recommendation or net promoter score was around 28%. But the highest customer experience would be around 95, and the lowest customer experience was around 35. The highest NPS was around 100, and lowest was minus 20%. The scores keep on changing throughout the year because, as Jan Erik mentioned, we are collecting the information as we speak. Now, to dive a bit deeper into the customer experience scores that we have, we are living in an era or the times where the technology and businesses are kind of converging. The lines between the technology requirement and the business requirement are kind of blurring. So if you look at the customer experience scores, service providers that provide a broad range of services that cater to not just the technology aspect of it, but also the business aspect of it, those providers have received high customer experience score compared to those providers who are focusing only a specific TAR. So this highlights and showcases the service providers who are understanding the business, who knows the impact that technology is going to bring into the enterprises. They are able to influence more stakeholders in the organization. They have more exposure to the enterprise client audience, and they are receiving high customer experience scores. Similarly, if you grow more, you operate at scale, your size increases, and we are seeing, and the data shows that the providers with high revenue, the set of big providers, which we have taken the name from ISG Index, the providers with high revenue also have received high customer experience score than those providers who are small but specialize in niche areas. So the need of the hour is that providers must focus on multiple technologies and business process areas. So ISG publishes these insights as form of quarterly CX index reports. As Jan Erik mentioned, we publish four quarterly index report. We call them CX index reports, and the final the quarter four report is the annual CX index report, which kind of talks about the CX trends across different categories. So we recently released the CX index annual report, and my colleague Arun has authored those report, and he has joined us today. So I'll pass it on to Arun to take us through the insights on the CX Index annual report. Arun, over to you.
Thank you, Manal and Jan Erik, for inviting me today to share 2022 annual CX insights and what we have been hearing from enterprise clients through our ongoing Star of Excellence program. So today, I will briefly cover overall CX insights along with regional, technological, and vertical perspectives. Starting with overall CX insights here, the graph shown here is very interesting, which compares 2021 and 2022 CX scores across the 6 CX pillars, which Jan Erik touched upon in earlier slides. In 2022, the overall CX scores across the 6 CX pillars has improved over the last years, indicating that service providers continue to exceed their clients' expectations. Whereas if we look at closely at the x-axis here, which captures the importance of the 6 CX pillars, 2 pillars stands out. One, business continuity and flexibility. Second, collaboration and transparency. In 2022, both these CX pillars are the only ones that have moved towards the right-hand side directions compared to the other 4 CX pillars, which fell behind in terms of importance over 2021. So clearly, collaboration and transparency, business continuity and flexibility, and execution and delivery, these 6 CX pillars remained highly important for your clients in these 2 years. Under current macro and microeconomic conditions, your clients demand effective and efficient communication, collaboration, and adaptability to ensure continuous service delivery. In 2022, if we look at from the lens of client satisfaction, service providers aced for 2 CX pillars: one, business continuity and flexibility, and governance and compliance, for their flexibility to meet changing business needs during the COVID pandemic and maintaining security measures to keep their IT infrastructure secured from rising cyber threats. Now, with COVID-19 pandemic still lingering around us, interesting thing to note is the innovation and thought leadership CX pillar stood as the least important for your clients in terms of expectation from service provider community, who are expected to be, close partners in digital transformation initiative which are being pursued. So for this CX pillar specifically, your clients expect you to continue to invest and develop your industry specific capabilities to deliver innovative solutions as part of continuous service improvement. Next slide, please. Talking about regional perspectives, digital technologies and services have been a lifeline during COVID-19 pandemic and played an even more crucial role in efforts to recover and build resilient economies that can withstand current and future shocks. Your APAC clients were highly satisfied with how you, as a service provider, kept their IT systems available with limited downtime and maintained or improved their cybersecurity posture to stay off radar of cyber adversaries. Moving to matured economies, America and EMEA regions saw weaker CX score where enterprises are expecting you to enhance your continuous service improvement capabilities to deliver innovation and help them in finding specific talent and skill sets to address the changing business needs. Next slide, please. From an overall technologies perspective, ISG evaluated CX insights across 27 technology areas, which ISG tracks under its ISG Provider Lens program. Here, I will briefly be touching upon the few technologies. If you look at this graph, it shows 5 key technologies by high and low CX scores. If I look at the left-hand side of the graph, software-defined networking technologies receive the highest CX score. Now, with rise of complex and disaggregated network comprising components from different vendors with separate management solutions, SDN is really helping enterprises to achieve flexibility, speed, and choice across their IT infrastructures. Enterprises were delighted with service providers' capability to deliver high quality of service and how they leveraged emerging technologies to safeguard their network infrastructures. However, if you look at enterprises expects you to develop deeper relationships with their stakeholders. Now, this here again, I want to emphasize on collaboration and transparency CX pillar, which saw an increment in 2022 in terms of importance and satisfaction level from your clients. Similarly, service providers offering IoT services were able to utilize enabling technologies like AI, ML, automation, and others to address business demand and build scalable solutions to deliver measurable ROI on their IoT investments. On my right-hand side of the graph, in 2022, if you look at procurement services and Oracle-specific services, saw a lower CX score from your enterprise community. Your clients expect you to improve service handoffs between your staff and their teams. Next slide, please. From an overall vertical perspective, if you look at it, ISG covered 12 verticals, which we track as part of our ISG Star of Excellence program as well. Here again, I'll be briefly covering up on the verticals. Coming to the graph, again, we are capturing top 5 key verticals by high and low CX scores. Here on the left-hand side, the telecom sector saw higher than average CX score, where it continued to witness headway across the technological, regulatory, and market competitiveness aspects. 3 areas which led to high CX score for service provider community here. First, that is smooth service transition from telecom clients or incumbent service providers. Second, limited service downtime. And third, maintaining a high quality of service. Now, interestingly, if you look at for telecom clients, innovation and thought leadership CX pillar were of minor importance, but service provider communities saw the highest CX score here for utilizing emerging technologies, delivering continuous service improvement, and demonstrating value with new tools and methodologies for their clients. But hiring subject matter experts with relevant skills remains a concern for the telecom sector clients. On my right-hand side of this graph, if you look at, in 2022, insurance industry saw the lowest CX score while it continues to identify avenues to reconsider and innovate customer lifecycle, which made 2 CX pillars of high importance to the clients. That is, one, innovation and thought leadership, and second, collaboration and transparency. So here, the catch is CX pillar, that is governance and compliance, which emerged as the least important CX pillar for insurance clients. They handle sensitive personal identifiable information for their customer, indicating that they have mature GRC frameworks in place to help them align its IT with business goals, risk management, and regulatory compliance requirements. Another aspect, what we noticed is that insurance clients really praise service providers for their strong industry expertise and knowledge of business processes. Also, helping the clients to maintain a proactive cybersecurity posture towards increasing ransomware attacks. Insurance clients expect you to improve on the front of service transitioning with their teams or incumbent service providers. With that, I would encourage all of you to download a copy of the 2022 overall CX Index report from our ISG Star of Excellence program, and happy reading. With that, over to you, Yanrek. Thank you.
Thanks, Arun. So hopefully all of you got really excited about the level of detail that we collected through the program. And the good news is that there were four studies that Arun wrote last year, and we're going to supply all of you a copy of all four. So as a follow-up, we'll be giving you copies of these slides as well as all four of those index studies. And you're welcome to use any information, any of the graphs in there. We'd love to get more information out into the market, get more clients who want to participate through you or independently through our link out on our website so that you collect more and more specific feedback about their experience. And we collect globally overall this kind of data so that we can continue to produce these reports that Arun just walked you through. So in the next slide, I want to talk about the awards piece. So we have an overall award, and it's not just for one provider. We've decided last year and the year before to select three. And we did that because we are finding that, in the top tier, there's a lot of companies that are really close, and that it just we couldn't just pick one because literally the difference between first, second, and third was so close. And so we just have three overall program winners. Then we have also overall for technologies, meaning that companies like the hyperscalers or Salesforce or ServiceNow, who provide technologies rather than services, also same thing. We have selected three that we will nominate and will recognize once per year. And then each of the different areas, we have technology, we have industry, we have regional, and then finally emerging technologies. We pick overall winners for each of those, and then down to the program level. And Renal will talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Um, Going on to the next slide, we did something unique in 2022, and I'll just apologize up front that we didn't think of it sooner and notify you at the beginning of the year that this is what we were planning to do. It was a brainchild of a number of our senior leaders, and we thought it was a fantastic idea. So hopefully all of you are aware of our SIC, the Sourcing Industry Conference that we do each year, one in the US and then one in the UK. And we decided, the UK one being at the end of November, that it would be a great idea to pull all of the different programs together where we give awards and do it in one big gala event. And it was a fantastic event. And we had so many of your firms there being represented. And the best part for me was the red carpet, where each of you have a chance to, as teams, get your picture taken with the trophies that you're being presented that night. And that to me is the best part of it. And just all of the interactions between our advisors and our analysts and each of you is a really special event. We'll continue to do individual provider lens ceremonies in different countries like we have, and we'll continue to do that. But the one that we do in the UK will be combined, and we will have both the Paragon Awards as well as the Digital Case Study Awards and Star of Excellence and Provider Lens. So all of those will be together. You may wonder, well, why have it all together? Well, they all have synergy with each other. As many of you know, we collect case studies as part of Provider Lens. That's an integral part of what we want to know about you and how you help prove what you're saying in your surveys as well as in your briefings. It's one of the most valuable pieces of information that Provider Lens team collects for our advisors. And they use that information as part of CPQ, as part of how they make final recommendations. So that piece is really important. From that, you can take those case studies and you can submit them through the Digital Case Study Awards, where we actually help you retool each of those case studies to make them consistent across one for the other. And then we publish those out into the market and we select those top winners. From those, we are now taking those to the Paragon Awards. And what's different about Paragon is that instead of just concentrating on what you have accomplished, what you're doing for each of your clients, Paragon is a celebration of the client and the provider working together. And in some cases, it's even two providers. One of the winners of Paragon was actually Capgemini and AWS. And so Paragon is very unique. We're really looking for that collaboration between both parties. And it's really a great opportunity to celebrate what's possible and out into the market. Then, of course, Star of Excellence is pulling all of that data together from a client experience level and recognizing and awarding you for that. So there's a lot of synergy between all of the programs, and we really encourage you to think about that as you're going through this year. We're going to ask you specifically about the case studies. Do you want to take them forward into the Digital Case Study Awards? Will we take those forward into Paragon? All of that will help us get a very rich picture of who each of your firms are, what you're doing in the market, how your clients feel about you, and what kind of collaboration that you have. So I hope you see the synergy in all of that and can get excited about that program, which will happen again in London at the end of November. Final dates are still being negotiated as we're trying to find a venue large enough to accommodate everyone. That was one of our challenges this year, and we're getting on top of that and making sure that we've got a really good venue and an exciting program. So hopefully, if you have any questions, please reach out to us and let us help you take advantage of all of those programs, and be prepared for that end of the year. Here is a list of all the finalists for 2022, and it's a great list of companies, both technology companies as well as service provider companies. And so it's a great list, and we're really proud of how many companies participated in the program this year. And on to the next slide. Just a few, like I said, the red carpet was the best. There were a couple of surprises. People didn't know that they were going to be awarded for the craziest photo or for the most social media posts. There were a number of other on-the-fly kind of awards that were given out during the ceremony. But to me, the best part of it was just seeing everyone come together. It's a very small community at the end of the day. So many of us have worked together in different companies and in different roles that we played. And I love seeing everyone reconnect. And that's part of why we spread you out during the event, because we want you to reconnect. And if you're just sitting with the people you already know, then, you can still have a fun event, absolutely. But we think that as we mix you up, that it's even better. Now, the exception to that is we know that on Paragon, if you're going to bring your client, the client wants to sit with you. They don't want to be mixed up amongst, the other 300 people that are there. So that is something unique about Paragon that I want you to keep in mind as well. That if you're going to be participating in the Paragon Awards and you become a finalist and you invite your clients to come to this event with you, we will put you all together at one table. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea about that program. Here are just some of the posts that we saw. I mean, there were lots of them. And so go out and look for Star of Excellence or look for the sourcing industry Gala Awards dinner, I think is what we ended up calling it. There are tons of posts out there talking about the event itself and all those who were recognized. Going on to the next slide. And so in this upcoming awards in November 2023, we're going to be looking at, like I said, there are 6 overall winners for one for service providers and the other one for technology providers, 3 each. We have a universal award, so that we're looking for across all of the ITO studies, who had the highest CX score, across all the BPO studies, and then finally the multiple industries. And then obviously regions, we look to that detail, as you saw in some of the slides that were now presented, that APAC had the highest satisfaction, with EMEA at the bottom, Americas in the middle. And so there is an award for overall award winner for each of those. Then for 5 of the industries, for 8 of the ITO services, for 8 of the BPO, and then finally ISVs and the emerging tech. So there's a lot of awards. It's a big program. I don't know if, hopefully all of you know, we have 50 studies coming out in 2023. 47 of them are traditional provider lens quadrant reports, and 3 of them come from our new Digital Innovator series. And we're excited to start seeing some of those startups, those ISVs come to this program and be recognized. So overall 50 that are out. We're already well into our second quarter of studies, and so kickoffs would have happened for private hybrid cloud, cybersecurity, software-defined network, all of those things. Shout out, by the way, to SDN. So not only was that study or that capability, network and software-defined services, highest ranked, but the telecom industry, from an industry standpoint, also highest ranking. So there's so much valuable information in everything that we're collecting. And thanks again for so many of you who nominated your clients, and for your clients who willingly participated and gave that feedback. Going on to the next slide. The benchmarking report is something that we don't really, I think you don't see enough of the data. Hopefully from today's presentation, you got a sense for how much data we know overall. But think about, we also know that data for you. So we can compare you to your peers. We can talk about where you're getting the highest scores, where you're getting lowest scores, and give you some solid recommendations on areas to improve. We give you the opportunity to buy the leader badges so that you can put them out on your website and talk about what your overall award was. And then as part of that, you also get the benchmarking report. And one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Eric, why aren't you just giving us the benchmarking report? We nominated some clients. You got clients voluntarily talking about it. You should just give us the report. I just want you I want you to know how much effort it takes us to pull each of these reports together for you. It's a tremendous effort, and the output of it is really fantastic information. I'm happy to sit down, or Heiko would be, and walk you through exactly what's in that detail and show you the level of detail that you get. To me, the coolest part of all of it is all of the quotes that you have from your clients. Now they're anonymous because we promise them that they are anonymous as they come in. But there are some tremendous quotes and things that you should be leveraging out into the market, because this is what your clients are saying about you. Nothing's more powerful than what our clients say about us. As part of that, we actually have a workshop. So we don't just hand you the report and say, hey, great great job this year and congratulations on the award, here's a ton of data. We actually walk you through a workshop so that you understand how we came up with it, what are the numbers behind it, and then you can act appropriately based on the level of detail that we share with you. And then finally, next slide, I now will turn over back to Mernal to just close out, and then we'll go on to the Q&A. Over to you, Mernal.
Thank you, Jan Eric. A quick section on the relationship between ISG Star of Excellence and ISG Provider Lens. I expect many of the audience today from service provider community, and I don't have to introduce you what is ISG Provider Lens, but just for anyone who is not aware, ISG Provider Lens is ISG's research product, a program in which we evaluate and position service providers and vendors for multiple domains and technologies. We position them based on their strengths and weakness in a graphic quadrant representation. Providers are scored on two axes, Y and X. The Y is about the product or service portfolio attractiveness, and the X axis is about the competitive strength. It is on this axis that the customer experience and the net promoter score from Star of Excellence feeds into the provider evaluation. So it's an integral part of the IG Provider Lens evaluation methodology. The impact of CX and NPX score is minimal, around 3 to 5%. The maximum is around 9%. And those of you who are participating in IPL studies, and when we share your preliminary results with you in our sneak preview presentation, if you have noticed, there is a slide on the customer experience score, how your CX differs from the industry across the 6 pillars and the net promoter score. So please pay attention to this slide. If you are not doing it, we are already giving you the information that actually gets feed it into the evaluation. So a couple of questions that we received. There are a lot many, and there is an FAQ page on our website also for Star of Excellence. So when can you nominate your clients? The answer is you can nominate any time of the year. Of course, if it makes sense, and it will be ideal to get the client nomination and also the client response during the IPL studies cycle. However, as Jan Erik mentioned, that the survey is open throughout the year. You have the opportunity to nominate the clients, and the clients can take the survey any time of the year. It makes sense when it happens during the cycle of the study. It helps analysts to make their to do the evaluation based on the CX information. So suppose you are participating in ISG provider lens cybersecurity IPL study, and you have a client to whom you provide the cybersecurity services, and you want them to take part of the Star of Excellence survey, which by the way is just a 20-minute survey. We don't ask any confidential information in the questionnaire, and we just ask how you have performed on the 6 CX pillars. So you want to nominate your client for that, please go ahead and nominate those clients. There are multiple ways that you can nominate. I'll talk about that. And when your client actually takes the survey and that information is collected during the study cycle, it helps the ISG IPL analyst to evaluate you and put that CX score on the x-axis. How can you nominate? You can nominate the client using the ISG Provider Lens questionnaire. This is a new development that those of you who participate in the IPL questionnaire on the IPL portal, you have an option to nominate the clients directly in the survey. We are adding, I'll show it to you. We have added a new tab for that, and you can nominate your clients while responding to the IPL questionnaire. Alternatively, you can also nominate the clients through our website. As Jan Erik mentioned, we have a link where you have to fill out a web form, the details of your client representative who will take the survey. What happens when you nominate the client? When you nominate a client, ISG sends an invitation to that client to participate in the survey. And one thing that I see some of the questions also coming on, that how can you know whether the clients that you have nominated have actually taken the survey? So I showed you a number of 950 clients nominated by service provider community. Unfortunately, not all of them take the survey. The reason being, most of the times the invitation that goes out from ISG may end up in some spam folder or some other folder that they miss out on the invitation to participate. ISG does not reach out to your clients. We do not follow up with them. They are your clients. So, but what we can do, we can provide you a status update about your nominations. We actually have a dashboard where you can track the client participation, the clients that you have nominated, how many of them have actually taken the survey. You have access to that dashboard, and you can have a look at the dashboard. And we also provide you periodic updates on that. We highly encourage you to reach out to your clients, especially those who have not taken the survey. It's extremely important and it's extremely helpful if those clients take the survey during the IPS cycle. However, if after the IPL cycle, the clients take the survey, what does that mean? Does that mean that the CX information is lost? No. As mentioned by all of us, the CX information feeds into multiple initiatives of ISG research. The CX information submitted after the IPL evaluation is done, the CX information will be used by ISG for multiple areas, including the CPQ process. When our sourcing advisory team goes out to a client, for example, in this case, cybersecurity, and tries to build a long list and short list of providers, they have your capability information from the IPL study. They can complement that information with the customer experience score coming from the Star of Excellence survey, which is not dependent on the IPL study cycle. Of course, we also do the Star of Excellence awards. So if we are doing a cybersecurity awards and your client responds even after the Apple study is over, you still have a chance to get qualified for the cybersecurity technology Star of Excellence award for that year. And what happens when you do not nominate a client? Does that mean that your CX and NPX score will go blank for that IPL? It won't happen that way. As Jan Erik mentioned, and I think we need to touch upon that, there are multiple channels that ISG leverages to collect your client information. Of course, we ask you to nominate your clients, but we also leverage an independent channel through which we collect responses from your clients. We also leverage our ISG sourcing advisory. As Jan Erik mentioned, that we will continue leveraging them to provide feedback. So in case there is no information coming directly from you, we are anyway getting the CX information from other sources. There are high chances. However, if you are a very niche provider working in one particular region, and there are chances that we may not be able to get the CX information from other sources. in those cases, we highly encourage you to nominate your clients so that your information about your customer centricity initiatives is also gets known to ISG. A very important point I want to highlight is the validity of the client response. For ISG provider lens, the response that gets submitted in a particular year is used in that year as well as the subsequent 2 years. So if you are nominating a client for an ADM, next gen application services, ADM services, and that client takes a survey, that CX and NPS score is relevant for that year and upcoming 2 years. Of course, we want you to nominate fresh clients every year, but we understand that you don't want to reach out to the same client for the same kind of work every year. We understand that, so we will leverage that data at least for 3 years. If your scope of services has increased for that client, if you're doing something new, we encourage you to nominate that client again to take a fresh survey. However, for the CX index part that Arun took you through, we are leveraging only the data collected for that year. And of course, for the annual Star of Excellence Award, we leverage the data that is collected only in that particular year. For CPQ and IPL purpose, we will continue to use the data at least for 3 years. Now, how to nominate your clients? And as I mentioned, from ISG website, the ISG Star of Excellence website, you have an option to nominate the clients. Highly encourage you to go to the website, check out the web form that you need to fill in. We just ask your details, the details of the client representative you want to nominate. There is also an option for you to nominate clients in bulk. So that means you can nominate more than one client in one go. And not many of the service providers are actually making use of this feature. It is there. We highly encourage you to have a look and explore. What is new this year is we have incorporated the client nomination part in the IPL questionnaire itself. For example, what you see here is the online questionnaire for private hybrid cloud ISG provider lens. There is another tab, if you have noticed, nominate your client for Star of Excellence. You can fill in the information directly from here. Now, what are the best practices when you nominate a client for Star of Excellence? There is, on the web form, you have to select yourself, whether you are a service provider or you are a vendor from, we'll surely change it to technology service provider. That's what we call the vendors who are not providers who are not offering a system integration or GSI capabilities. So if you are a system integrator, managed service provider, or a GSI, you are IT BPO provider, you identify yourself as a service provider firm. If you are a firm selling software, hardware, SaaS solutions, you identify yourself as a technology provider or a vendor. And when you select yourself in the appropriate category, then you have to select the respective context item for which you have nominating your client. Context item is nothing but the respective IPL study name. So for example, you are WNS and you are participating in ISG provider lens study of contact center. You want to nominate a client. You go out, fill out, select yourself as a service provider. You select the context item, BPO services, contact center, customer experience services, and you fill out the details of your client representative and submit the form. The context item gets pre-filled when your clients take the survey. They see this line that WNS has nominated you as a client for contact center services. So that information that you feed in here actually goes into the survey when the respondent sees it. For the nomination that you fill through IPL study questionnaire, the context item is automatically pre-filled. I spoke about the dashboard, and it is available for you, and we can share with you the link for that. And if you have not started using it, highly encourage you to use that. This dashboard can be accessed via ISG Executive Insights. Now, this will have details about all of your nominations, and you will see the status of your clients, whether they have taken the survey or not. ISG does not publish the names of your clients anyway as part of Star of Excellence. However, when it is only available to you when you access your dashboard, you can see the client names, and in your particular view, you can see which clients have not yet taken the survey. Highly encourage you to make use of the dashboard and reach out to the clients who have not taken the survey. So we are reaching to the end of the presentation, highlighting the key dates for this year. We are, as Jan-Erik has already spoken, we have launched the program, although the survey is already open. This is the formal launch, telling you all about this program, the global launch. In the month of April, we will release the first CX index report for 2023, which will talk about the CX trends by different industries. In the month of July, we will release the Q2 CX Index report, which will talk about the CX trends by different technologies. In the month of September, somewhere we will start collecting information for criteria for the Star of Excellence awards for this year. We will again reach out to you over a webinar, where we do the countdown for the 2023 awards. In the month of October is when we finalize we decide on the finalists, the nominees, and the award winners. And we'll also release the third quarter CX Index report, which tells about the CX Index by different regions. In the month of November, as Jan Erik mentioned, we will have a spectacular event where we will honor these providers who receive highest customer experience with this Star of Excellence Awards in a ceremony. Throughout the year, the information collection for customer experience and Net Promoter Score will continue to feed ISG Sourcing Advisory and ISG Provider Lens Analyst with required information for their studies. So with that, I'll thank you all, and I end this session, and I think we are open for questions.
Yes, we are, and we've received a number of them. Hannah, do you want to read them, or do you want me to go through each one of them? I guess that means I'm going through them. Can a provider submit multiple projects delivered for a single enterprise if they were all delivered to different stakeholders? Absolutely. That's what we assume, that when you're in there, this is the whole uniqueness of this program. Rather than just asking that client to talk about everything you're doing, assuming that everything you do is the same. It's either all good, it's all bad, it's all somewhere in the middle. We all know that that's not true. Everything that we do is unique based on who we're working with, who we assigned, how experienced we are, and therefore we would expect very different scores, customer experience scores. And so for one single enterprise, you can nominate 10 different projects. And when I was at American Express and I ran vendor governance, and we had our own program similar to this, I said, I don't want just how are we doing overall. I want to know for every engagement that we have with that provider, are they meeting your expectations? What are they doing great? Where are there opportunities for improvement? So we're doing the same thing. That's why, to Mrinal's point, when you nominate them, you say, I want you to give me feedback based on the work I'm doing for you in contact center. And even down to the quadrant level, they can talk about that. So yeah, the answer is yes. If you're doing lots of different work for an enterprise, then nominate a different person for each different type of work you're doing for them. How many client responses do we need? Mrinal, do you want to just walk through that, please?
Sure, Jan Erik. So every response counts. For IPL study, even one client response is useful for the analyst who is evaluating you for the respective quadrant. Of course, we expect you to nominate, and we encourage you to nominate as many clients as possible, because now, as you know, the information will be used in multiple initiatives that ISG does. So there is no cap on the numbers. There is no minimum or maximum numbers. But for example, if you are doing a study on cybersecurity and there are 6 quadrants, and you have there are a couple of different quadrants and you have different clients on that, our analyst would need at least one client reference for each of those quadrants to evaluate you for your customer experience initiatives. And to Jan Erik's point, if for the same clients you are serving multiple geographies, highly encourage you to nominate different personals and different representatives from these geographies, because as you know, the uniqueness of ISG Provider Lens is that we provide regional level provider evaluation. So an experience for a same client representative sitting in Brazil may be different from a client sitting in Europe. So that's how you can do it. It can be one client, multiple representative, but there is really no cap on number of client references. But yes, for Star of Excellence Awards, the more you nominate, the higher are your chances to be eligible for that particular Star of Excellence Awards.
And one of the coolest things that we started doing this year, and for those of you who have seen it, congratulations. That means you are really participating in the sneak previews. We now tell you how you did in customer experience. And so we've had that experience where people are like, is there more? Well, no, you only nominated one person. So here's what they had to say, versus those that say, this is great data, and they get the value out of having multiple of their clients participate, and then it comes out during the sneak preview, and you know exactly how we interpreted that in your overall showing in the quadrant itself. I do want to emphasize we never talk about names. So even when we share in the sneak preview, we're not going to say this comes from your client A or this from your client B. You won't know that. And especially we get all of the nominations coming in through our website, through our advisors. You don't know which of your clients those are. And so we really do everything that we can to protect the anonymity of your clients. And we want you to emphasize that to them, that they won't see that. So that's just, I hope that answers that question. Next one, what is the validity duration of a client feedback received in 1 year? I think Murnau went over that. So for the awards itself, it's in that year. For the reports that Arun shared with you, it's what we received that year. For IPL, it's 3 years. What is the data collection and management protocol? I'm not sure I understand, but Murnau or Arun, maybe you understand the question.
Yeah, sure. For data collection, as we discussed, there are multiple channels that we use to collect the information on Star of Excellence. There is an independent channel where we reach out to your service providers, clients, to rate them about their customer experience pillars, and of course, you can nominate the clients to give the same information. We combine that the information coming from different channels to calculate the customer experience scores. So that's what I can talk about the data collection part, Jan-Erik.
Great, thank you. Latest, greatest information that Hannah has supplied to us is that the ceremony will be on the 15th of November in London. So Hannah, thanks for that. I knew that was just in the progress right now, so I'm glad that we have a date. How does the provider get to know about survey completion of nominated clients? Hopefully you saw all of that through Renal's discussion of the dashboard. I can't tell you how important it is to go to that dashboard and to keep on top of it. And when we say, you find out who didn't nominate, we assume you're not going to go harass them. That wouldn't be a good idea. But, if they understand the importance of their feedback to you, and you tell them, we really want to know and would love to have that feedback incorporated into our overall understanding of how we do. Hopefully they're not offended, they understand that you really care. So that's why we tell you who hasn't participated, just so that whatever is appropriate, you encourage them to participate. Who can participate in the provider evaluation? What if the responding enterprise wishes to remain anonymous? Yes, they are anonymous. If they truly, truly want to be anonymous, then ask them to go to our website, and then we don't collect that information about who they are at all. Obviously, if you nominate them, as Murnau said, we send them a unique invitation. We have to know then their email address. We can then figure out which company they work for. So if that makes them uncomfortable, then say, hey, go the totally anonymous route and go to the website and just, nominate yourself. The one issue that we've run into is that piece that Murnau talked to you about, is that when they go in there, they have to identify who they are, who they're giving feedback about. And sometimes they don't quite understand that we're looking for experience that they're having with one of you. And so it might be for procurement, it might be for financial services or insurance or infrastructure. Um, but they're from the legal team, and so they look and say there wasn't anything for legal. So they misunderstand what we're asking them is for what part of their company is the service being delivered, not who they are or what department they work in. So we've run into a little bit of problem there. We're hoping that through giving more detail on the website, people understand what we're looking for. The safest way to ensure that they will respond specific to the work you're doing for them is for you to nominate them. But we'd rather have their nomination. If they truly want to be anonymous, then just let's have them go to the website. Let's see. There's one last one. Can we nominate one client experience for two different categories? Banking for cybersecurity and data center ops? Absolutely. Yeah. So the way you would do that is you would nominate the same person 3 times. And when you select what service and what IPL, then you just say different. So, let's say Murnal is your client. You want to nominate him. So you go in and you nominate him for the banking study. Then you go in again and you nominate him again for the cybersecurity study. And then finally, last one for private hybrid cloud data center. So that's how, and that's very realistic. We know that happens. One thing I want to emphasize is the people you should nominate are not the senior VP or the C level, because most often they don't know the depth and breadth of the work that you're doing and whether the team that is receiving that service is happy or not happy. Not that I don't want to make a general statement and say they never know, but the people you should be nominating are the people on the ground that you work with day in and day out. Those are the ones who know. They're the ones having the experience with you, and they provide you the most valuable information, because the last thing you want to find out from the VP is, hey, I thought everything was going great, but now I talked to all my team and they hate you. So, we want to make sure that the on the ground people, that's the feedback you're getting. So when there's opportunity to course correct, you can do it. When you find out that you're knocking it out of the park, then you can repeat and do that over and over again and use those best practices.
Sure.
So our
Jan,
team
just
is
just to, just
out.
to just
Go
to
ahead, Renal.
add to this answer, I think in the latest survey, I think there is an option where you can nominate the client once. When the client representative is taking the survey, they will still see additional service lines that you are offering. So even in one response, they can select multiple service lines. If you are offering for cybersecurity and data center, they can select in one response. So they can do that. They don't have to nominate them 2-3 times in that case.
True. But if they want to make sure that they know that they want 3 responses for them, then the safest way is
Yeah,
to be
absolutely. And,
specific
and
and
it's,
nominate
it's,
them 3
it's
times.
useful for us to track and if they nominate
Speaking
it.
of that, so yes, they always have the option, even though you're doing cybersecurity for them. They say they're actually doing a bunch of other stuff for me. They can go and self-select and nominate and not nominate, but give you feedback on all these other services. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're very open to any suggestions you have. Many of you have given us suggestions, and the program is what it is because so many of you have cared enough to tell us what we can do different and better and what the client experience is with us and filling out our survey and participating in Star of Excellence. I do want to mention that um, uh, 210, 15 of your clients have specifically said to us, we'd like you to stay in touch with us and send us the reports. And so to us, that's a really good sign that the clients find it valuable. And we've gotten great feedback on the reports that we've sent out to those clients. That is something they have to do. So we ask them, do we have permission to follow up with you and give you the report? And they have to indicate, they have to opt in and say yes. And that means we have their email address and we will communicate with them. So it's really a great way for you to ensure that the clients are seeing that data about you and your positioning in the reports. So to me, it's a win-win for all of us. We get the research out, your clients get to read it, and you know that your clients are reading it. So I think the program is important for all of us, and we hope that we'll see greater participation this year. Thanks so much. As I mentioned, you will now all get a copy of the presentation. You will get all quarterly index reports that Arun wrote that he talked to you about, and anything else. You can always go out to our website. You can always come to us directly during the process of doing the surveys. You can ask the project manager anything you want about Star of Excellence. We're all ready to help and want to be able to talk to you about it with every sneak preview we do. With that, on behalf of Arun, Murnal, myself, and Heiko in bed somewhere, getting better, we thank you for participating today. Thanks for all of you who have been so great in supporting this program and continue to support it. And hopefully today we've convinced you that if you weren't participating, that you're now going to participate. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.